All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome. Hello, hello. Welcome to our LYT, or Linking Your Thinking Workshop and Accelerator Launch Party 2026. This only happens once a year. So we're truly grateful for you to join us right here today. And if you're here, you probably already have an idea why you want to be here. We'd love to hear from you. Feel free to comment in the chat. We're going to have some fun. We want to hear from you. Let's treat this like a conversation, and we're going to be answering some of your questions about the LYT Workshop or Knowledge Accelerator. But more than that, we have our alumni guest right here. So I want to call them out. Big shout out to Chris, Morgan, Boykin, Kate. Woohoo! And of course, we've got Keaton and Nick as well right here with us, guys. So yes, and with that, before we start, I wanna let's hear from everybody. So I'm gonna ask them to tell us about where they're from, how they're feeling, maybe say something cool. So I want to pass the mic. Let's see. I'm passing the mic to Keaton, brother. How are you feeling? Say something cool.
Hey, Dan. I'm Keaton. I am head of operations and experience here at LYT. I live in North Dakota in the Midwest of America. And something cool is it has been surprisingly gorgeous for being a North Dakota winter. And I've gotten to do a lot more outdoor stuff lately, which I'm really thrilled about. With that, I am going to popcorn over to Boykin. Boykin, let's hear from you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Boykin Jordan, and I live in Northern Virginia. You'll be hearing more from me later. And I am just so super excited to be here. We also have a little bit better weather than this time of the year than expected. So I'm going to pass it over to Chris.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris. I'm currently living in Maine and piggybacking off of the weather. It's so good. Exciting thing today is that I don't have to wear indoor gloves. So that's nice. Super excited to be here. And yeah, how about you, Morgan?
Hi, I'm Morgan. I'm here in Los Angeles, and something exciting I recently did was I just went to Australia, visited a permaculture regenerative merino sheep farm, and found out that they're breeding a new version of merino sheep that's more parasite resistant, so they can have even higher quality like animal welfare standards because they just don't get the same sorts of parasites. And they even have a better quality wool. So it's super cool to see when, genetics and breeding can kind of enhance things and evolve things. And I'll toss it over to Kate.
Awesome. Thanks, Morgan. My name is Kate Turgeback, and I currently live on Vancouver Island, which is off the west coast of Canada. And then something I discovered, I moved here a few years ago, and there are no skunks on Vancouver Island. They haven't made it over yet, so. And I guess I'll pass it to Nick.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Kate. I'm Nick Milo, founder of Linking Your Thinking. I'm currently in Montana, where I'm probably going to be spending more time. Been in LA Los Angeles the previous 10 years. And we're also having some nicer weather today. So I think we'll be enjoying that after today's launch party. All right. With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Dan. How are you doing?
I am better than yesterday, 10 out of 10 today, because today, this is our second time we're all gathered in the same place the same online place, same time. Last time was we were in the LYT workshop. So with that, we want to welcome you, everyone over here, but we just want to ask 4 simple things. The first one is letter C, comment. If there's anything useful or interesting that you note, you want to make a remark on it, use the chat. We're going to comment back. Feel free to comment about what we're sharing with you guys, especially from our lovely alumni and from our experts later on, and from Nick as well. Number 2, letter Q, questions. Ask questions. All questions are open about the LYT workshop, about Accelerator, how we can help you move forward. Today's the best time for that one. Number 3, let's have some fun. Hear the unique stories, experiences from our alumni, from our experts, from Nick. And number 4, there's going to be a magical QR code or link later, and that's a portal to our offer, our invitation. So if that resonates with you, feel free to click that link. So that's our housekeeping items. With that out of the way, we are ready for our first part of the program, which is the overview. So the first section is all about talking about what the Linking Your Thinking workshop is all about. What is LYT Workshop? Who is this for? Is this for you? And who better can talk about that than the founder of Linking Your Thinking, the LYT Workshop pilot, Nick Milo. Nick, please take it away.
All right, thanks again, Dan. Yeah, so you might be wondering, just by and large, what the heck is linking your thinking? It's kind of hard to explain. I know, because I often have to explain it to family members, and it can get a little tricky. Maybe you have too. Why do you like to take notes so much? And you just don't know how to explain it to them. But in a nutshell, we like to think that Linking Your Thinking is the home for lifelong learners and independent thinkers. Maybe we say curious thinkers, but at the end of it all, everyone that you see and hear from today, you'll know for sure how independent they just feel. So just a couple slides to get you a sense of what we're all about. Linking Your Thinking was born May 20th, 2020. We've indirectly served millions, indirectly served over 100,000 now via our workshops and programs. Participants have been in 73 different countries, Fortune 500 businesses, top universities, taught at UCLA. And next year we have our book coming out through Simon & Schuster. And it should be a pretty big launch. Now, why are you here, and why would this be something you might be interested in? People join LYT for 4 big reasons. The first one, I think we can all feel, is so we can expertly manage cognitive overload. We are overwhelmed by information. This is the thing that we all have in common. And if we are also people who are lifelong learners and independent thinkers, it means we take notes. So if you're overwhelmed and you take notes, where do you go? It's really Linking Your Thinking, because here you build your own knowledge system, custom, future-proof. It'll last you a lifetime. That is what we do during the LYT workshop itself. Overall, you'll improve how you think, write, learn, also remember, and create. As all this stuff is happening, you can't help but transform all this stuff that's overwhelming you, find what the signal is, and then start to move that into your own inspired work. Really, Linking Your Thinking is for everyone who feels overwhelmed, though. So if that's you, you're definitely in the right place. And I just want to tell a quick little story. We also kick off the LYT workshop with this story every single workshop. And you may have heard it. It's about the 2 fish that are swimming through water. When an older fish swims past and goes, "How's the water, boys?" The 2 other fish keep swimming for a while. One turns to the other and asks, "What's water?" Ever hear that one? It was made popular by David Foster Wallace. And he goes on to say, the most obvious, important realities are often the ones that are hardest to see and talk about. We're here to get better at swimming, but we're not swimming through water. We are all swimming through information. The LYT workshop improves how you swim through information so that you can make better sense of the world around you. That is it at a broad overview. I really want you to hear from everybody else and not just from me. So I'm going to end it here for now, and then we'll have time to go over the specifics, and I'll walk you through what you can expect in the workshop itself. But first, I think it'd be great if you just started to hear from other people. So I'll take over for Dan for just a moment. And if you like what you're hearing, give a +1 or a comment in the chat. I know that'll make Dan happy. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Dan.
Thank you so much, Nick. Great overview over there, guys. If you want to read more, linkingyourthinking.com/workshop. We have a QR code later on. I'm going to show. But yeah, I want to make sure that you guys can hear us, and we want to hear from you too. Can you give us some reassurance that you guys can see us and hear us? Use the chat. It's a safe space for you to comment, ask questions, and let's have a great time today. So that was our overview of the Linking Your Thinking workshop. Up next, we have our Alumni Insights. Our alumni are students who have graduated from our Linking Your Thinking workshop in the previous years. We have alumni members all the way from Workshop 1. I'm from Workshop 1 up to Workshop 16. So yeah, can you guys believe that? Amazing. So there we go. Our first alumni guest is Boykin. So Boykin Jordan is a solopreneur in semi-retirement. He enjoys travel, photography, reading, and writing, and he's currently learning Python for fun. Nice for you, Boykin. And today, Boykin will be sharing the power of connection, ideas, and people. Boykin, would love to hear from you. Please take it away.
Thank you, Dan, for that great introduction. And to everybody out there, I just want to say This is going to be my 4th workshop because I think I started in LYT 14, so I don't have as many as others, but I'm totally excited about the journey and the transformation that I've been on since I got started. I came in when I first started, and I didn't realize it, but I was frustrated because I couldn't quite figure out how to express myself, and I was looking for a way to do that, because I would always have all these different ideals running around in my head, but they would always seem to conflict with each other. But really, they wasn't conflicting. But I didn't realize that there was this different lenses I could look through the same problem with, and so they were really complementary and they were actually related. But I didn't understand that because they didn't quite align with the way I was at that time thinking about things. Since then, I've learned that little trick. Then I've moved on to where I became a note, uh, master, where I got super excited about like making notes. But then my challenge became I was an over collector, right? You see, I didn't have a good decision filter, a way to discern, and I've mastered that problem. And now I'm evolving into my 3rd stage, which I'm really excited about, which is my quest to build a customized knowledge system that's tailored for me, a guy in semi-retirement, still doing some consulting on the side. So he's still a little bit of professional stuff, but his hobbies and interests are starting to become a whole lot more important to him, along with other things. And essentially, this is where I go inside my note-making space. This is where I go to really do my best thinking at. And so this is why I'm really excited, and that's where I also connect ideals with people. And on that, I want to just say there's 2 types of connections here. The first type is with just the ideals. That you can do on your own anywhere, okay? But the power of all of this is when you're in a community of like-minded people. And it's those people that accelerate your growth. So, hey, I hope you join us. I'm super excited, and this has been quite the journey for me. So, I look forward to seeing you in workshops.
Nice. Make some positive noise in the chat on screen. Wave your hands. Thank you so much, Boykin. Really love that. It reminds me of, instead of linking your thinking, it's linking our thinking. There we go. Thank you so much once again, Boykin. Next one is Karen Yoon. Karen is a retired educator, author, and professional development facilitator. Today, Karen will be sharing with us her vault on the topic of exploring self-discovery connections. So we've got Karen's video, and I'm going to play this, and let's hear from Karen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen. My vault is about self-exploration. And I don't agree with people who think that that's navel-gazing. We humans are meaning-making creatures. And when we are exploring our inner selves, we are bringing coherence and meaning to our lives and often to the lives of the people around us. As much as I have always loved this, I haven't been able to do this work until I started with Linking Your Thinking almost 3 years ago. So let me show you what I think is necessary for self-exploration that I've learned from Nick and Keaton and the community. First, let's start with Paddle with the Current, the Christofferson quote. In Linking Your Thinking, Nick talks about noise versus signal. And in my vault, that's really about alignment of my values with my notes. We're all self-explorers in Linking Your Thinking in terms of making connections. And that's really at the crux of the program, of the workshop, is teaching you how to be a connector rather than a collector. It's an exhilarating process because note making ends up becoming a creative pleasure because you're communicating you, and that makes all of the difference. What does that look like in my vault? Well, here's a narrative map of content around in-between times or liminal spaces, transitions. You might like to think of it as another way to make connections. I'm in a long-term Jungian analysis, and I do art for some of my dreams. And I love that Bases now allows me to take a look at that and see links across that. Going back to our canvas, there are people in Linking Your Thinking from all walks of life and all different ages. What we all have in common is that none of us use our PKM as a storage locker. It really is about being able to take action for our best selves, whatever that might look like for each of us. For me, in this situation, maybe we'll look at a curriculum that I wrote about embodiment, because this is something that I need. And the structure, the vault, allows me to bring all of these materials together in a meaningful way. Finally, let me talk about my own voice. This has become increasingly important to me. I'm not interested in AI helping me write. If you're someone who is into AI, there is a place for you in the community. There's also a place for me, and it's one of the great things about Linking Your Thinking is it meets you where you are and helps you with your individual personalized needs. I'd like to end just by saying that sometimes people wonder, if I'm this far along in my vault and I'm happy with the way everything's going, how come I'm still in Linking Your Thinking? I've got a better question for you. If you are lucky enough in your life to have a community and are completely a strong sense of belonging and acceptance, surrounded by creative, intelligent people, supported by a team, including Nick as a teacher who just inspires with every single time he opens his mouth, why would you ever leave? Why would you leave? I'm certainly not intending to. Thanks for being here.
Wow. Woohoo. Karen, thank you so much for that inspirational message. Feel free to comment in the chat, ask questions about the LYT workshop. That's Karen Hume, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, if you're just coming up here, this is our workshop launch party 2026. And we are at our Alumni Insights section. Up next, we have Kate. By day, Kate is a digital marketing strategist and is the co-founder of a boutique digital marketing agency. By night, Kate is designing a solo RPG game based on fashion in Regency, England. Think Bridgerton in RPG form. Wow. Today, Kate will be sharing with us how LYT is about more than building a PKM or personal knowledge management. It's about joining a diverse and supportive community. Kate, thank you so much for being here. Welcome. Please take it away.
Thanks so much, Dan. Yeah, so I found Nick and Light on YouTube when I was looking for tutorials on Obsidian. So I watched several of Nick's amazing Obsidian videos. Plus, I downloaded his Ideaverse Light Obsidian Vault and watched that video series. And then after thinking about it for a long time, I signed up for Light 16. That's the workshop last fall. And I came in with a goal, and Dan mentioned it. I'm designing a game, and I wanted to use Obsidian to manage all the different parts of the game. So research, story, game mechanics, illustration. It's crazy the amount of material there is. And what I was really hoping to get out of Light was just some clarity around how to organize and to make sure I could use all the content in my game design project. And then plus gain some proficiency in Obsidian. But the amazing thing is I got so much more out of it. I'm definitely more proficient in Obsidian, and I have absolutely been able to tighten up my thinking about how I organize and access and use the information for my game. But I wandered into this community of people who care about thinking and about organizing their thoughts, whether it's a project or just journaling, to either share with others, as we saw that Karen did where she publishes it, or just have a record for themselves. And the thing is, these thoughts can be about game design or writing a legal dissertation, building a business, working through personal trauma, like a million different other things people are working on in the Light community. But it's because the secret sauce of Light isn't about a specific topic, but it's about the process around wanting to capture and query and refine your own thinking. I've met people who are doing things with a PKM that I would never think about doing and probably never will. But they all have a process for building their PKM and for organizing their information. And because people can share that process, I learn from them. And that to me is amazing. Plus, the way that Nick has developed the LYT program, it actually works for different ways of thinking. So I'm a top-down thinker, what Nick calls an architect, right? I like to plan everything out first and then kind of organize stuff. And it works for me. But if you're the kind of thinker who likes to gather a bunch of content and then kind of see where some connections are made, that works too. And if you want to be one day and a different one the next day, that absolutely works. That's what I love about LYT. It works with you. It doesn't try to force you into a single method of building your digital garden or your second brain or kind of whatever you want to call it. So in case you haven't figured this out, I'm a total LYT enthusiast now. And I've signed up for the Knowledge Accelerator program. And I'm just daily amazed by the generosity and intelligence and kindness of the LYT community. And it's not just the community. And, Nick has built this amazing program, but I think a bigger tribute to what's happening is the team that he has built with Keaton and Dan and Layla, who isn't here. They're so focused on customer service and our success that it's, practically unreal. I've never been in a workshop where, the team has cared so much about whether I'm successful or not. So I'm so grateful for that. And I just, if you're here today, I hope you'll, consider joining the LYT community and this amazing group of people. You will not absolutely regret it. So thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Kate. That was really, that's like food for the heart, listening to your story and yeah, your kind words. Thank you so much, Kate. And yeah, right now I am curious. I want to give the mic to Keaton, our workshop director and head of operations. Keaton, how are you doing? What is standing out for you so far in the chat?
I am doing great. I'm following that chat, answering some questions along the way, and I just love seeing how these shares from the alumni are resonating with so many others here too. It also is great just seeing both some new and familiar faces. We don't just have the alums here on stage, but we have several in the chat talking about their LYT experience as well. And it is just so meaningful seeing that this transformation, it almost seems like magic, but it really does work for anybody, regardless of where you're at, whether you just discovered personal knowledge management and Obsidian or note making just a few months ago, or whether you've been at it for decades. This really will transform the way that you work with information. And you'll hear it time and time again with these alumni, with what Nick has to share, and again, here in the chat too. With that, again, I'm going to keep supporting the chat, but back over to you, Dan. This is great.
Perfect, Keaton. Thank you so much for sharing that one. Up next, we are going to talk about how the workshop works. If you're here, you're curious, you're considering the workshop, but you want to learn more. Yeah, how does it work? What's going to happen in the next 30 days when you join the LYT workshop? So with that, let's hear more from Nick.
Well, thank you so much, Dan. Wow. Just hearing from everybody, it's really reaffirming for the work that we're doing. Our mission is to help everybody be enfranchised and empowered to think with their notes, to feel like they can be critical and creative at the same time, that they can be connective and generative at the same time, and that they can make the most of their lives and hopefully enrich the lives of the people around them. So with that in mind, Keaton, would you be able to throw up the keynote again, or let me know if, okay, wonderful. I want to walk through two parts, but the first part right now is only going to be for the annual Linking Your Thinking. That's the LYT workshop. And that starts early May and ends early March. It's 30 days. And I'd love to walk you through just the high points so you can understand how do we try to get these outcomes. And just as Kate was talking, something that came to mind was that something in our program is, we were taught language, we were taught math, but no one taught us how to work with ideas. And especially in this digital age, like how do we overcome our overwhelm? How do we take all the stuff that we're interested in and figure out how to gather them together and do something with them? Like where does this come from? Where do we learn these things? It's kind of like this fundamental skill, but it involves every aspect of our lives. How do we think? How do we think better? So I just want to walk through a few slides with the LYT workshop just to kind of approach what we cover. And I want to start with something that's actually new, but I think it's a good way as an entry point, the overwhelm index. So one of the four categories of overwhelm is disorientation. So as I go over these four, I want you to think and reflect on yourselves, like which one is the one that is where I feel the most overwhelmed? Number one is disorientation. So this is that scattered thinking, lost in the noise, unable to filter what matters or find solid ground. Number two, doubt. Paralyzed by anxiety, trapped in second guessing, hesitant to act. Which of these two resonates more with you, unfortunately? Number three, exhaustion. Drained and depleted. No mental bandwidth left to apply what you know. Like you need to do this exact thing, but you can't. You're exhausted, and it's just debilitating sometimes. And last, frustration. You feel blocked and stuck. You're unable to produce the meaningful work that you know deep down inside you're capable of. So yeah, in the chat, which of these four is resonating the most? Just type that one word, go ahead and hit enter. Love to see what's resonating with you. But how do we overcome this? Well, let's look at each of these one at a time. So instead of disorientation, how about, okay, before that, this is called the overwhelm index for a reason, because the more that you have of each of these, the more that overwhelm is starting to become incapacity. You feel incapacitated to actually function in the way that you would like to. So we're going to start to replace each of these categories. Disorientation, we're going to replace with clarity. That's your ability to calm, orient, and direct yourself. What about doubt? Let's go ahead and replace that with confidence. Your ability to take action and express yourself without unnecessary hesitations. Let's do another one. Instead of exhaustion, let's go capability. Your skills, techniques, and the ability and energy to actually apply what you know. So instead of exhaustion, capability. Do you notice what's happening here? The overwhelm starting to go away. Let's replace frustration with creativity. Your ability to make connections, create something new, and contribute unique value. Back in the chat, which of these four do you want? Which of these four do you want the most of? It's going to be hard because we want them all. Which of these four do you potentially need the most? So instead of the overwhelm index, this is the knowledge index, because like Francis Bacon famously said, knowledge equals power. So the more that we can get in clarity, confidence, capability, and creativity, the more that we'll feel empowered with everything that we have to do with information and ideas. All right, so that's going to lead us into a brief overview of the ARC framework and then the workshop as a whole. I just want to make sure we're all on board. I can tell you about this thing, but we're all on board with something. We feel overwhelmed. We're wondering why. Let's diagnose that so then we can fix it. The other part is when we're feeling stuck, we can use the ARC framework to help us get unstuck. ARC stands for add, relate, and communicate. So you add new ideas in your life, new experiences, all that stuff. Then you relate those new ideas to known ideas, and then you can communicate your own ideas. So a good way to think about this is new plus known equals own. The new stuff plus the stuff that you already know equals the stuff that you own, that you can communicate in your own voice. So when we add things, you might think of this as save, encounter, consume, clip, filter, highlight, jot. All these are ways that we add information into our lives. And then what about relate? This is where we're engaging, organizing, gathering, interacting, colliding, critiquing, carving, shaping, all these, so many more. And then we get to communicate. We're crafting, we're transforming, we're commenting, writing, outlining, publishing, add, relate, communicate. Just these three steps. And the problem is that these can become out of balance. So here, the first step, the adding step, is the one that is most associated with us collecting things. And then relating and communicating is where we are the creator. We're creatively engaging, interacting, and oftentimes generating new things. So what happens is when we over-collect, and so many of us do, we think that's the answer, that the answers are out there in all the other information that we haven't touched yet. We just keep adding new things. We add and add, highlight, bold, clip, and watch, which means that we don't have time to know things. So we need to push back, because if all we do is add, we don't have time to relate it to what we actually know. And then we won't have the time to communicate it in a way that enriches our lives and the lives of those around us. So that's just a broad overview. We talked about overwhelm. We talked about the fix to overwhelm being rebalancing this three-step process: add, relate, communicate. With all that in mind, let's jump into how we get there with the Linking Your Thinking workshop schedule. So at a glance, this is everything you can expect from February 2nd to March 3rd. If you're on a computer, this is a good time, and not on your phone. Well, you do that on your phone too. Take a screenshot. We start Monday, February 2nd with Orientation Day, and we end March 3rd with Graduation Day. Now, every Tuesday is the super session with me. We'll get to which sessions you should attend if you have a limited amount of time, but you should definitely attend these Tuesday super sessions. Recordings are available quickly afterwards, even if you can't make it, even if you're in India or Australia or somewhere where the time zone isn't working so favorably. 2 times we have workflow sessions that I also lead in blue. This one's for organization and the second one's for ideation. We have a couple happy hours to get everyone talking and communicating and to recognizing what we all have in common. And we even have one of our new and really popular already co-working sessions during the workshop. We have 3 expert sessions, which I'll cover momentarily. And then we end with showcase sessions where everyone who attends, you and your peers, are opening up their notes and showing us around. Like, when else do you get this type of access? You saw in one of our members sharing, Karen Hume, you saw like just a brief look inside her system. So now imagine that, except she's showing us a tour over 10 minutes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 different events just dedicated at the end to what we've actually done. So you'll start on Orientation Day with taking an onboarding assessment. This is another view of everything that's covered, including the 90 lessons and exercises that unlock weekly. And just a sense that we have powerful live sessions to give you an outcome, proven online learning. Those 90 lessons are live sessions. Every week we have one exercise for each week. That exercise has direct feedback that you receive from some of our workshop mentors. And you have 1 year access to both all the lessons and all the recordings from this month of hours together. These are just a few glances inside the curriculum online. So you can see it's built into 6 different units. We're going to take a peek inside Unit 1, the age of the linked note, and talk about the basics of knowledge management. You can see in the right-hand sidebar many of the different lessons. There are a few more off screen. How do you work with folders? How do you work with tags? How do you work with this thing called proximity, the nearness of 2 different ideas? And how can we use that for our benefit? And that continues onward. So we get into Unit 2 and it continues. And then what you're looking at now are all these different showcases, all different peers of yours giving us a peek inside their systems, showing us what problems that they've been having and how they're trying to solve those problems. Very cool. And last, let's choose your weekly path. So if you have less than 4 hours a week in any of the given weeks that we have together, it's fine. All you need to do is prioritize my Tuesday super session. And if there's a workflow session that I'm running, which is only 2 of the 4 weeks, prioritize that as well. If it's one of the final weeks, show up to the showcase sessions. That's all you have to do. Now, if you have 4 to 6 hours that week, then let's go ahead and add one of the expert sessions. Maybe it's Jolt Vitzian, Cara Monroe, Joel Anderson. And if you have 6 to 10 hours, now we can add a second expert session. And you can also start to go through the curriculum, just the starred lessons. Now, if you have over 10 hours that week, you can go through all these things. Plus, we can add on their expert session, if there is one, and then also the curriculum with all the lessons in the curriculum. So this is how, no matter how much time you have in a week, there's ways that you can just modulate how much you're involved to still ensure that you have an outcome. We've done this so many times. We know how to give you results, even if you have limited time. And just to finish, some subject matter experts, Dr. Cara Monroe, how I use Obsidian as a miniature CRM to manage relationships, projects, and more. We also have Jolt Vitzian, thinking is a design problem, visual tools for complex problems. And last, Joel Anderson, shallow linking and synthetic thinking, the importance of meaningful links. Each of these sessions are from people that we know, we trust, and they provide a very unique perspective when it comes to knowledge management. They cover the gamut between more practical to more creative to more research-oriented use cases. And just to finish before I pass it back to Dan, pass the mic back to Dan, is the overview. So we start before week 1 with you taking an assessment that's going to identify where you are on your journey with knowledge management and what your next steps might be. Week 1, we get into reclaiming our mind and how we think. Week 2, we build practical knowledge skills. Week 3, we start to craft our custom knowledge system. Week 4, we put it all together and figure out how we can maximize our creative generative power, because knowledge is power. All right, so with that in mind, that's enough for me for now. I'll come back to talk more later about the Knowledge Accelerator. But Dan, I'm going to turn it back over to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. That was really great, Nick. Thank you so much for talking to us how the workshop works. If you're curious, you want to read more about the workshop and consider our offer, there's a QR code right here that you can scan. We can also type in the chat, the official link for the landing page that you can go to. So you heard from Nick about the experts. We have 3 experts for the upcoming workshop. We have Zsolt Vixian, Dr. Kara Monroe, and we have Joel Anderson. So our experts are the ones who will guide you through deep dives into specialized areas, sharing tips, strategies, and insights to level up your thinking. We'll be hearing more from the experts in the weeks ahead, but we want to share a special message from Zsolt, recorded for today, especially as it highlights his neat use of visual thinking. So for the upcoming workshop, it's called Workshop 17 or W17, Workshop 17. Zsolt will be sharing the topic, Thinking is a Design Problem, Visual Tools for Complex Problems. Zsolt is an experienced IT professional with over 2 decades of cross-disciplinary expertise. And he's also got his own YouTube channel, Zsolt's Visual PKM. And yeah, let's hear more from Zsolt, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just see. Here we go. Oh, 1 second.
Hey everyone, it's Zsolt here. I am super excited to host an expert session at LYT 17 titled Thinking is a Design Problem, the session we are going to have at the LYT workshop. So this is in the context, you could say this is a premiere of something that I'm working on. I title it Sketch Your Life, and it's a concept that brings together my favorite subjects: visual frameworks, storytelling skills, lateral thinking tools, and design thinking to create a tool set that you can use for thinking, for solving problems in your life, and for sketching your life on a page. In terms of the session, so this is the backbone of the idea in terms of the design thinking workflow, but what I want to talk about right now are these lateral thinking tools from Edward de Bono. De Bono talks about thinking as a process, and he also proposes different tools for that, setting the objective with 2, then looking and exploring ideas, then exploring possibilities, then turning the thinking into the selection phase. So what do I do with this? And then finally into the action phase to go with an idea. I took de Bono's different tools and I turned them into these visual cards where each of the cards has different visual frameworks and tools attached. And what de Bono talks about is that these thinking tools need to be sequenced, or can be sequenced, because they're like tools on your tool belt, and you're going to use a screwdriver, and then you're going to use a hammer, and then you're going to use a chisel. You have all of these different tools on your tool belt, and whenever you're building something, you need to think through, what do I want to do? And you're not going to be doing these in random orders. You're not going to be screwing the screw before you've drilled the hole, and you're not going to drill the hole before you cut the piece that you wanted, and so on. And the same is with thinking tools. These tools can be connected to one another, and here you can see most of the 6 thinking hats with a little bit of additional pieces around it. But this is the basic idea that thinking is a design problem. And so at the workshop, what I want to do is I want to take an idea and we will go through some of these visual tools and then have smaller groups where we apply these tools to solve that idea. And I think as a teaser, this is probably enough. This is what we're going to be doing. The idea is still new to me, not the thinking tools, but to convey this in a workshop format. So you're going to be the very first on the globe to experience this. And for that reason, I am super excited. So see you at the expert session and enjoy LYT 17.
Nice. Thank you so much, Jolt. Woohoo. And for everybody here staying here with us, this is our Launch Party 2026. And if you want to learn more, there's a QR code right here. You can jump into the website, linkingyourthinking.com/workshop. And actually, I've got good news for you guys. We're actually opening the enrollment a day in advance for you guys today. So if you're ready, this resonates with you, all the details, the schedule, how the workshop works. You've heard from some of our fellow alumni right now. Thank you so much, by the way, Kate, Chris, Boykin, Morgan being over here, and Eric and Karen. And so with that, maybe you go you go through the workshop and then 30 days later, maybe you're feeling like, what happens next after 30 days? Is there something for me beyond the 30 days? And the answer to that question is yes. We do have an offer for you, and it's called Knowledge Accelerator. So the Knowledge Accelerator is our 1-year program. And with that, Nick will talk more about this one in the next section. So please take it away, Nick.
All right.
Nick, you're muted.
Great. And we have the keynote here. And then I can't wait to hear from Chris and Morgan some more. We're going to jump in a little bit just with the Knowledge Accelerator so you can get an idea of what this year-long program looks like. It's supposed to be, and it is, a complete solution for your knowledge needs. So what you see here is the time band, January through December, and these are our biggest events. We have 4 of them in the year. The biggest one is in February, the Linking Your Thinking Workshop, which we've talked about already. Then we have a few others that we'll get to as well. For the first time ever, every month in the Knowledge Accelerator has a dedicated theme. And this means a lot. It doesn't mean, oh, we just theme a month. We have a dedicated live event for those months. Just last week, we did New Year Actual Action, had 340 people live, which was amazing, and went through some really fantastic things. I can't wait until we get to Delta Day in April. I'll talk about that more momentarily. But then you can see the time band fill up with now these orange triangles denoting these special events. One of our big events is a synced sprint in May, writing original works. This is where we learn how to use linked notes to do our best writing. Then over November, it's note-making mastery. This is where we learn how to use linked notes to do some of our best thinking. So these are ways to dive deeply into the stuff that we set up during the Linking Your Thinking workshop. All of this goes together. You can actually start at any point. It's always, I think, ideal at this time of year to jump into the Linking Your Thinking workshop to begin with. And let's continue going. The Knowledge Accelerator also gives you access instantly to our offerings and products. And we have this list here, like 7 very unique products. Each one everyone is power packed. So I'm just going to dive quickly into the Ideaverse Pro product. So this one is $300 normally. It's included in Knowledge Accelerator. And it's just a starter vault to get you going in Obsidian, teaching you the fundamentals by being able to bounce through about 1,000 different notes, supported by online training and embedded videos as well. So it's both online videos in an entire course and then embedded videos in a course within the vault for Obsidian as well. Now, that's not everything, because I want to go deeply into these monthly themes and just kind of give us a quick understanding. Every month has a dedicated theme. In January, it's alignment and action. It's at the top of the year. It's a month to begin with intention. And we just did our live session, New Year Actual Action. we go into February, this is the big and annual, only one time a year now, the Linking Your Thinking workshop, where you leave with your own thinking system that will last you a lifetime. March, what's March about? Spring cleaning. We're going to go through a 90-minute guided live walkthrough where we focus on the physical, and then we move into identifying the digital methods, and then we apply the big clean formula where we can really tidy our digital lives. In April, we have big progress. This is Delta Day. This is going to be something that's been sleeping for about 12 years, but it's where we all get together for a 6-hour sprint to make big progress on your biggest project in a supportive group environment. So that's a huge single day activity only in the Knowledge Accelerator. May is writing and creativity. That's writing original works. Our sync sprint, which is 22 days, where we so a sync sprint, the way we do it, we kick off with a live session on day 1, and then we end with graduation day on day 22. Every single day is an unlocked new lesson with an exercise. And these things happen in weekly, where we also introduce lessons to support the exercises. We've dialed this thing in to have the best outcomes possible in the least amount of time, but also with a good amount of community interaction still. Can't wait for June, where we talk about cognition and neurodivergence. The live session is Workshop Your Brain. In July, here, I'll go back to that one. And so we're going to look at 4 different elements of how our individual brain, our own brains are working: memory, emotions, time, and motivation. And then we get into July with the life audit. And at the top of the year, we plan out the year. We think about it. We create a theme for it. But when do we think about our lives? July is for this opportunity to gain a wide and deep sense of your entire life. So we're going to audit our lived experiences, our relationships, our work. We're going to get clarity on the direction that we're going in, and if we need to make or want to make any adjustments. This is the best time in the year, I would say, as well. We get through a pretty busy stretch. Summer's about to begin. Now we have space to zoom out. If you're wondering about these monthly themes, they're co-created with our own Knowledge Accelerator community, and they also basically reflect my own needs and the needs of so many of us. So there are some certain seasonality moments that just make a lot of sense, which leads us into August, a journey to nowhere in particular. So we're actually going to have an entire live event around enabling wandertivity. This is going to help repair toxic productivity whenever that's showing up in our lives, and how we can actually be okay with a different type of energy called wandertivity. September is a big time for experiments and improvements. This is where we get to spend dedicated time with the Linking Your Thinking core curriculum. There are 6 units to this. It's included in the Linking Your Thinking workshop, and Knowledge Accelerators get immediate access to it. But this is an opportunity for us to go together and work our way through these units. Another 22-day synced sprint. October is all about rapid learning and sense making. November gets us to the note-making mastery sync sprint. This is such a wonderful entry point if someone is wondering what is note-making and how is it different from note-taking. And then we finish December with your year in review. And that is a live session called You in Review. And we focus on honoring the past year by remembering it, by making sense of it, and feeling good about it. So this is the Knowledge Accelerator monthly themes from now up to month 12. And this is the entire package. Join the Home for Lifelong Learners. If you want to learn more about it, Dan will be sharing links in this live session now. And this is what it'll look like once you go onto our website. So that is the broad overview. Now, that being said, I really want to hand it back over to Dan, and I definitely want to hear from a few of our other members because they're just really interesting people. So with that in mind, Dan, how are you doing?
Doing good, Nick. Thank you so much for that presentation showing the monthly themes. I really loved, the visuals that you made there, Nick. And we hope that was clear for you guys. So if you have questions for us, please feel free to use this time to ask your questions in the chat. And you can also go to our website, linkingyourthinking.com/accelerator, or use the QR code right here. Up next is we do have our second batch of Alumni Insights. And up next is we have Chris. Chris is a multidisciplinary artist, writer, and content creator, originally from Puerto Rico and now living in Maine. today we'll see Chris's PKM history, what makes LYT an amazing resource. Thank you, Chris. And what is truly tool agnostic. Would love to hear more about that. Chris, please take it away.
Thanks, Dan. So, hey, everybody. My PKM history starts in August of 2024 when I first came across Obsidian. And I started kind of building a system and all that. But by February of 2025, I had created roughly about 150 notes. And the quantity isn't the issue. It's that most of those notes were what we call in the community zombie notes. And zombie notes are those kind of things that are notes that are unlinked, or they are unloved, ever lingering, kind of like dusty and forgotten. They don't bring any life into the system. And that's not what I wanted. So I came across Note Making Mastery in March and decided to join that to see if I could deep dive and learn some things to improve my practice, right? And a few months later, I did that, joined Writing Original Works in July, and then the opportunity came to join the Accelerator program, which I did. And then I was able to participate in Light 16, where I ended with a showcase of my own. And by that point, I had around 800 or so notes at my PKM. So just in a few months, I was able to bring it up to 800. But again, the quantity isn't the main focus. It's the fact that now these notes really made it seem like my PKM was a living, breathing organism that I was excited to go into and sort of develop my ideas with, right? So two things that I think make Linking Your Thinking an amazing resource for anyone wanting to improve their relationship with PKM and their knowledge are, of course, Nick's frameworks, right? His teaching methods and style make it really easy for you to learn from him and to implement those things. But then, of course, as everyone's mentioned, the community. Because you get to participate in these sync sprints with other members of the community at the same time, you get to learn and be exposed to the different ways in that these people and everyone else is also absorbing and implementing the information, which just make it so that it's much more expansive and dynamic, and you get to take so much more from the learning experience. And then another thing that I wanted to highlight is that it isn't tool agnostic. And, that sounds like a catchy, phrase, but it's not. You can use things like the ACE method, the Spark method, the 7 C's of note making, all of the things that Nick teaches. You can use them on any tool. I'm someone who uses a lot of journaling and analog tools, and you can definitely do that. It doesn't just have to be digital. Another thing that happened during Light 16, which was really life-changing for me, is Sabine, one of the expert sessions. She used capacities in her expert session, which was a program that I hadn't heard of before. And I was so inspired during that the mid-workshop, I decided to switch over to capacities. And I've been using it ever since. So even if you don't use Obsidian, you can still learn so much from the different frameworks and the modality that Nick teaches through Light, because they're not rules. You get to take what you learn, what you are reading about, and run with it in whatever way. And with the backup of the community to further help you out and implement these things, it's honestly just an amazing way to expand your practices. So yeah, that's a little bit about my experience with Light. Back to you, Dan.
Wow, beautiful. Woo! Thank you so much, Chris. You reminded me of a saying I learned from college. I think it's Latin or something. It's like non multa sed multum. It means not many, but much. So I really appreciate you for surfacing that idea where it's not necessary that you have a lot of notes already for joining the upcoming LYT workshop. So yeah, there's also like the quality of notes and thoughts and ideas. Really love that. And so with that, up next we have Eric. Eric, I'll be sharing Eric's video, but a little bit about Eric's background. Eric is a practitioner and scholar of classical Chinese medicine, which includes the study of Southeast Asian languages and cultures, particularly in Japan and China. Zen Buddhist, long-term business owner, teacher, and writer about holistic business. So Eric is basically a massive, massive nerd. So let's hear more from Eric, and Eric will show us his PKM explorations and story. Here.
Hey there, thanks for joining me. So I just wanted to give a real quick tour of my PKM space and mostly just talk about why I do this stuff in the first place. So I make notes for all kinds of things. I'm a healthcare practitioner. I read and write and think for a living. I own a fairly big business. And I'm a big nerd who has a complicated life. And so I use note making and note making apps for all of that stuff. And I have for many, many years. PKM as such sort of became part of my universe early in college, around, let's say, around the year 2000, back when there weren't as many apps for it, and a lot of it was sort of something you put together on your own. I really started to realize I needed a system for all this stuff, and so that's really what started my explorations. And over time and over the years as things developed, I learned a lot of things from a lot of people, a lot of different organizations, a lot of different app developers, and I really started to come into a different relationship with knowledge, information. I encountered a lot of difficulties as I went. Some of them were internal, most of them were internal, just kind of things going all over the place, not being able to sort of master my own thinking. But there were some, actual structural issues that I encountered. I've always been an interdisciplinary thinker. I've always been working with information from lots of different domains. And when your information is siloed and a mess, it's difficult to really know what you know and to start to create unique takes on things. I ran into that issue a lot early in my career. Obsidian, which I came to pretty early on in its life cycle, really started to open things up for me. I'd already been using other apps that did linking, but Obsidian just did it in a way that was very special. But it had its own issues because it's so open-ended and so powerful, I didn't know what to do with it. And that's when I very fortunately came across the Linking Your Thinking community, Nick Milo and all the work that he does and the work the whole team does, and most importantly, the community that's part of the Linking Your Thinking ecosystem. The community there has really helped keep me grounded, keep me inspired, and keeps me iterating my system. And I really, I wouldn't be where I am today in my business, in my practice, in my life, without Obsidian and especially without the Linking Your Thinking community. I'm just going to do a very quick little tour to show one cool thing in my system. My system is very, very vast, but I'm just going to do one little thing and see. So here's a note for an herb called guizhi, which is cinnamon twig. And I like to use bases. I'm an Ideaverse Pro guy for sure. I've implemented a lot of what Nick put out there, and especially in this latest release. You can see over here we've got some classical text lines. These are lines of an ancient text that I work with a lot. And then up here, another base in the sidebar are all the formulas that are related to this herb. So that's just, this is, lightning fast, but this little thing has done so, this kind of thing, this way of linking and relating to information and being able to work with it and discover it has been extremely powerful for me, and has cut loads of time out of my daily workflow, and it has really been a benefit to not only me but my patients, my employees, and other people in my life. So thanks for taking the tour.
You're on mute, Dan.
Dan, you're muted.
Oh, I was just saying that, Eric, thank you so much for watching this. See, I was that enthusiastic commenting. I totally forgot about unmuting. But yes, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Launch Party 2026. That was Eric Gray, one of our alumni from the LYT Workshop. Yeah. And so we're about to be in our closing. We're going to have a Q&A section, by the way. But just before that, we have one more alumni insight. And this is from Morgan. Morgan is a systems thinker and designer working primarily with textiles. And the title of the topic that she'll be sharing is Beyond Collecting. Beyond Collecting. The potential of Morgan's notes expanded infinitely when the course reminded her that digital notes can change and evolve. Morgan, would love to hear more from you. Please take it away.
Hi, thanks, Dan. So yeah, it might seem sort of obvious that you can just change a digital note, but it's something I had never given myself permission to do until the course explicitly encouraged it. And then it was like this, oh, well, obviously, all systems evolve, right? Everything changes, everything adapts to feedback, everything grows. And so what ended up happening is that now I've got this sort of permission to iterate and change and design stuff, and also sort of sync my values into the way that I take my notes. So I'll just go ahead and screen share and show you how this kind of played out in two little instances, just because I think that might be helpful. So in my previous vault that I had before linking your thinking, I would open up to this blank page of doom and not know where to go. And in the linking your thinking, it built this sort of system, right? We asked ourselves the right questions, right? What do I know? What I want? What do I want to do? All sorts of questions that actually help you guide towards a system that's designed to evolve. And so one way that's playing out is that I'm always revamping my website. It's currently down, being revamped. And you can see in my old notes, the way I would try to get into this is digging around like, oh, maybe I should do a theme. Here's some random online content about making a website. Here's a bio I wrote. Here's inspiration, and all these little scattered notes of other people's thoughts collected. And then you can see in my new vault, I navigate through notes, which is part of that system that helps you be evolutionary. Clearly, evolution is on my mind. And I have a few inspos at the top, but very clearly noting why I think they're inspirational and starting to like group some of my projects, think of how I actually want to present works that I've done. And then one other way this has played out is now I embrace my minimalism in my note-taking app. So before I would grab like an article and just highlighting away and, linking to writing that's not even my own. And now I realized I went back through this article and I was like, you know what? I've really only got one thing that I want to take away from this article. And it's one quote. And it landed here in my reminders list. All of this is part of the setup that you learn in the workshop. And it just was like next level to just go to this calm space, always have a pathway to dive in, embrace my value of minimalism. And yeah, so this course can really like help guide you on a journey to ask yourself the right questions, so that you can design a system that evolves with you. So yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you so much, Morgan. Yeah, that is really the promise of our workshop, which is to help you design a custom system for your thinking. And it doesn't matter with the tools. It's not about, Obsidian is great, but it's not just about using Obsidian. It can be other tools, as you've seen from our alumni guests right here. So really appreciate you, Morgan, Chris, Boykin, Kate, Eric, Karen, and yes, to everybody who's watching it, our alumni who's also present here, chatting in the comments. Thank you so much. And right now we're going to open up questions. So if you have a question about the LYT Workshop or Knowledge Accelerator, now is the best time to ask your questions. And I'm going to be looking at our star if we have any questions right here. And I'm going to lean to our workshop director, Keaton, if you see any questions from the chat.
We don't have many questions so far. Feel free to drop them or email us later at hello@linkingyourthinking.com and we will address those. Two big priorities that I want to acknowledge. Nick shared the schedule earlier, and just as importantly, he acknowledged those weekly paths that we have too. And it's truly, they're some of the biggest things that we consider when it comes to designing each and every workshop is that we want it to be transformational, but we also want it to be a sustainable experience over these 30 days together. Again, there's a lot of events, there's a lot of activities, there's also a community involved too, but we understand that life can happen, that maybe it's family commitments, maybe it's work, that your availability can change week to week, and these paths can too. Again, you can adjust these week by week and know that there's no FOMO when it comes to the LYT Workshop or just about anything in the accelerator. Everything's recorded, you can pick it up later. And again, with the paths, you can choose those meaningful things that'll still lead to a transformation while being able to still handle everything else that's happening in life beyond just LYT as well. And again, we just want to put people first when it comes to this, and that the whole team will be supporting your experience, whether it's in the workshop, whether it's in the accelerator, that we're at your side the whole time on this journey together. With that, again, if there's any more questions, feel free to ask them in the chat, but I'm going to hand it back over to you, Dan.
Thank you so much, Keaton. Yes, that was really great timing, Keaton, because one of the questions in the email that I got was, what happens if I fall behind in the workshop? Good news is there are live components to the workshop, but there's also recordings to the workshop. There's two types of recordings. As soon as Zoom, we use Zoom for the live workshop. As soon as Zoom gives us the recording, the session, usually around like 2 or 3 hours, we want to make sure that that is provided within the day. And then a day later, we provide an edited version with timestamps. So you can watch that anytime at your own pace, and you'll have access for the recordings for a year. And I think that's more than good enough time for you guys to go back and go back to the sessions and also engage with the community. With that, there's one of the questions that I get from the email that I think it's good to answer. And Keaton, maybe I feel like you're the best person to answer this question, which is right for me. Should I go for the LYT workshop or for the Knowledge Accelerator, or can I upgrade later on?
So especially, we want to consider your budget. If the workshop feels best right now, by all means, join the workshop. But if you're ready to do more at once, if you join the accelerator today, you'll have access to the LYT core curriculum. You'll get familiar with some of the concepts before the whole workshop and be able to dive in with just a little bit more familiarity as you continue in it and be able to maximize that. That being said, there's also opportunities to upgrade to the accelerator during the workshop as well. So know that you haven't missed the boat, and that plenty of people do so. Seeing is believing when it comes to the workshop and LYT as a whole, so that once you kind of get an understanding of what we have to offer, many decide to continue to stay for that whole year of the accelerator because of that. And Nick, do you have any thoughts on that as well?
I think you nailed it, Keaton. I would just say the best thing to do is something. I think if you're this far along in watching us and hearing from everybody, you have gone so far down to proving that you're in the right place. So whatever it takes, if it's just joining the workshop for now, you'll always have another chance for the accelerator. So just whatever it takes to get you started. And I'll touch on a little bit why near the very close, but just want to make sure that we cover any lingering questions, or maybe we're ready. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking at the live chat. Looks like the others, it looks like the questions have been answered already. But if you do want to reach out to us, you have additional questions, hello@linkingyourthinking.com is the best place, best email. Use that. Keaton and myself and Nick, we're going to answer you right away. We're on standby for you guys. So any questions, we'd love to support you so that you can make the best decision moving forward. So we've got the LYT workshop, and you've got the QR code right here that we're showing. And if you are interested with the year-long offer that we have the Knowledge Accelerator, and this is the QR code that I'm showing right here. I've got one last question for our workshop director, and he's the best person to ask this question to. This is the question: why join now? Why should I join LYT Workshop or Knowledge Accelerator right now or today?
Thanks, Dan. So as your workshop director, it's and head of experience during the Knowledge Accelerator as well, it's truly my privilege to support each person's learning experience during both the workshop and the year with the accelerator. And as I do so, I get to understand your use case for PKM, for your note making, what ideas that you typically work with, and why you'd like to better organize them. Something I'm continually still amazed by is that, again, as I shared briefly before too, these frameworks that Nick teaches work for any use case. You've seen some on stage today and wide-ranging interests, and also different thinking tools as well. And our alums right here in the chat but are also sharing. But honestly, beyond them, thousands have had transformational experiences from the LYT Workshop. We have had software engineers, we've had novelists, we've had pottery artists, medical doctors, musicians, students, those still figuring things out or at a crossroads on their life. And they want a little bit more space to think through things and plan things out. All of these great individuals are here. They're going to be your peers in the workshop. They're your peers in the community during the accelerator. It's truly an incredible array of people of all ages spanning the entire globe. Even right now, I didn't catch Dan mentioning it at the start, but he's in the Philippines. We truly do just transcend the whole globe here together. It's just beautiful. Linking your thinking works because it's not prescriptive, where it forces you to adapt or fit into one specific box or one specific way. Several experts and alums have acknowledged that today. It's really about personalizing where you think and to how you think. And again, we each have unique goals. We each process information differently. What linking your thinking does is allow you to better support your own thinking style, your writing, and as Nick said, your relationship with knowledge in an environment that can grow and evolve over time, just as you do. With that, I hope you'll consider joining us, and I sincerely look forward to supporting your experience along the way if you do so. I'll hand it back over to you, Dan.
Thank you so much, brother. We've got a comment from Joshin. Keaton's support is always quick and on point during the workshops. There will be no open questions. The team is amazing in providing support throughout the workshop. Yes, I agree 100%. Thank you so much, Keaton. Keaton's very kind, and he's our workshop director. We're very blessed to have him. So if you guys, you're curious, you want to join, there's a QR code right here. Join the Knowledge Accelerator. You've got options. We've got payment plans at the checkout page. If you have additional questions, again, feel free to email us. We want to invite you. The closing of the workshop, correct me if I'm wrong, Keaton, is at January 21, 11:59 Pacific. So that is the end of the closing.
For enrollment.
For enrollment, yes,
yeah.
For the enrollment. But the workshop will start on February 1 until March 2, February 1 until March 2. Right?
February 2nd through March 3rd. Sorry about that. And we get the full schedule on the website as well. You can take a look at it, including all of the live events taking place throughout the workshop.
Thanks, Keaton. We've got onboarding emails ready for that. So that was a little bit confusing. Sorry about that, guys. But there we go. We've got a QR code, the page. All will be clear over there. We want to thank you so much once again for being here, our alumni, for being here, our experts, everybody, for you guys listening. But before we officially close, let's hear from the creator of Linking Your Thinking, Nick Milo, for his closing thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I really don't feel like I even need to say anything else. It's been so well covered by everyone who's talked today. I'll just try to say just generally, like, what is it costing you though, when you feel that your thinking is impaired? And how often does that happen throughout the day or the week? I'm doing well, and then I go online and, whatever it is, I just get bombarded with too many in these social media feeds, and I start to lose my way again. That is okay if it doesn't happen very often, and it's okay if I can find my way very quickly. And it's not okay, however, if I just get stuck in these loops. Because the longer that we do this thing that we know we shouldn't be doing and spending time in it, we're not doing the main thing, then we feel worse about ourselves. And these start vicious feedback loops where a sense of shame can start to grow. And that sense of shame can damage relationships. And that sense of damaging relationships damages a sense of who we are, how we identify with ourselves. So it can get really existential really quickly. And no one else offers something like this. This is a very unique type of home, a global home for lifelong learners to slow down and to think about their own thoughts, how they can group those together, how they can develop them. I think Chris used a good word, query them, come back to them, refine them, and just do something that I think is what you've really wanted, but nowhere else has it existed. Nowhere else have people given it a language that we then can now talk about to each other about what we're trying to do and achieve. Because let's face it, ideas at their essence, they start invisible, and it's up to us to externalize them and figure out how we can work with them in a way that's useful for ourselves. If we can make them tangible on screen, then we can start to figure out how to, why do we come alive with this? Why do we need it? Why are we trying to capture and connect it to something else? What are we trying to say? How are we trying to think? Thinking itself, just to finish, I'll say this, thinking itself, it touches everything in our day. Like, we can't help but have our thoughts impact our finances, our relationships, how we feel, what we're interested in, our curiosity, our enthusiasm, our energy. And if that could improve 1%, let alone 10 or 20 or 30%, or who knows, wouldn't that be worth it? And to me, the answer is a resounding yes. I want to know with certainty, with assurance that I am fulfilling my mind's potential, that I'm making the most of my mind. What we teach in the Linking Your Thinking workshop and in the year-long Knowledge Accelerator is geared around helping you get to that feeling where you're like, okay, I get it now. I am finally making the most of my mind. I know when I'm not, I know how to get back to what I want to do. So I feel like I'm fulfilling my mind's potential. And yes, that is a really amazing feeling. All right, so that's all I have to say. I think we have one more thing from Dan here, but thank you so much for your time and attention, and maybe we will be seeing you around. Dan, take it away.
Yes. Great message, Nick. Thank you so much. For some reason, I'm just remembering my family because, like Linking Your Thinking is not just about like the workshop. It's really like, for me, it's like building for my family. It's, that's a legacy for me. That's my PCAM legacy. So you've got your own personal reasons for wanting to expand your thinking, and whatever that reason may be, we want to be inclusive to everybody, and we're catering to a lot of different people. I'm from the Philippines. I met Nick 2 years ago with Keaton in LA, and that was really great. So with that, want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for being here. Our launch party 2026. This is the closing. Want to give a big shout out to our alumni who's present here. We've got Morgan and Boykin still here with us on stage. Thank you so much, guys. And we had Kate, we had Chris, we had Eric and Karen, and also Jolt's expert video right there. And yes, if you got any questions, hello@linkingyourthinking.com. This is the email that you can use, and the QR code. All right. I think with that, we can call it a day. It's a wrap. Feel free to unmute yourselves and say goodbye. Stay connected, everybody. We'll see you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.